the first UFC pay-per-view of the year is done and dusted, so we thought it would be a good idea to trial a new format for Verbal Money that we are calling the good, the bad, and the ugly. There was, I think, a fair bit that could go into each category from UFC 297. That was an event that I enjoyed, but there's a lot of stuff to get into, a lot of talking points, and some ones that fall out of our regular kind of brackets that we would put things into. Hence this show. I think the best place to start, I'm going to start by going to my main good talking point, which was the main event, which I've seen, people seem really split on as to whether it was a great fight or a terrible fight. I just thought it was all right. But there's a few things that play into why I've put this into the good category. One being that I have Dricus du Plessis to end the year as middleweight champion, so that was nice. One being, I was getting bored of the Sean Strickland discourse of the argument of, is he entertaining? Is he just saying horrendous things? He's saying horrendous things. We don't need to chalk it up as anything else. Like, I understand that, he's entertaining to watch because he's unpredictable, but I was just like, I would like a little bit of a break from Sean Strickland. And I enjoyed the fight for what it's worth. I didn't think it was amazing, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the adjustments that Dricus had to make in the fight, and it was an interesting watch. And then Sean kind of rallied in the fifth. I thought it was a good watch. Did you guys feel the same? Because some of the Twitter discourse about this fight seems crazy to me. Like, even the decision, I thought it was quite clear that Dricus did enough to win 3 rounds. But
yeah.
It was
I thought it was a good fight. I didn't think it was anything special. I thought it was a good fight that stood out because the rest of the card, or the main card at least, wasn't that good. I don't think it's one of the top 5 title fights of all time, like I saw someone say on Twitter. But let's not get into that. I thought it was
crazy. That could go in the ugly category for sure. That take.
Yeah. Is it going to be a fight that's memorable for Fight of the Year? Probably not. But I mean, it was a perfectly good fight on a card that needed a good fight. Let's be real.
Yeah, no, I
also had Strickland or du Plessis winning.
My man DDP did what we said he'd do, and he went out and he did it. To be fair, though, I was very not that I thought Dricus would have a massively one-sided win, but I thought it was a good fight. I saw Ian Gary's video laughing about how sloppy it was, and I see what he meant towards the end. But I thought, do you know what? Who cares? As long as they're slugging and throwing and banging, I thought it was fun. It was a fun fight to watch. Wasn't amazing, but anyway, top 5 title fights of all time is crazy, man. Someone is on something there. Or just wants that Twitter money. I don't know, but
it was wild.
Was it a blue tick? That's wild. There's no way, man. That's a top 5 title fight. But great showing from both still. Even Sean, man. I know he didn't look as good as he has previously, but I think he still looked good. I'm really excited to get that Izzy fight next, if that's where we're going. We'll see. But yeah. And I think we've got fun fights for Strickland as well, going back from this. I don't know about you. I want to see Strickland versus Khamzat. I really want to see that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't want to...
Can you imagine the Strickland versus Khamzat press conference?
I think it'll be reminiscent of Conor and Khabib, where Khamzat just nods and goes...
Maybe.
They smash, brother. They smash. He does smash too, man. He does smash. But
I really want to see Chimaev and DDP as well.
Yeah.
That's another one of the reasons I wanted to put this in good, is because the options of having DDP and Izzy or DDP and Chimaev are both sign me up. Those fights sound great.
No, but then I don't think they do Chimaev right now, because I don't know about you. I think Chimaev beats DDP, and then you lose in your DDP Izzy fight.
Oh, see.
So I think that's why they will make a point to do the Izzy fight right now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
But I would also like to see Khamzat get another win at middleweight first. I know his last one was over Usman. Nothing against Usman, man. Welterweight or middleweight, Usman's a great name to have. But I'd like to see him face an active middleweight, someone who's been up there for a bit, and actually, get him in there with Vettori or someone, man. I'd love that. That's a nice fight.
Strickland's the guy, right? Strickland's the one to do.
That would be great.
Strickland.
Yeah.
That is a Saudi Arabia main event, whether they do a title or not, whatever they're doing. I love that. I'm all for that. But I don't know how Sean Strickland would get on in Saudi Arabia, mate. I do not want to even.
I actually think they agree with quite a lot of his views.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I'll leave that one to everyone else.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink some 7-Up.
Even though the idea of this kind of format is to go round until we've spoken about all the talking points from the week, we also, don't need to bury the lead at all here in what the main talking points are from this card. So I'm going to go to Steve for a bad pick, and I'm assuming that one of the other main talking points from this card is going to be what you pick.
I think I know what you want me to say. So, I'm just going to go with that. I don't have it on my list, but I assume you want me to kind of go to the co-main event, right?
Yeah.
See, I have Raquel Pennington in my good section. Hear me out. The story. She had a broken back. She broke her leg. She's been in the UFC for so long now. She had that Nunez fight. We saw how that went. I mean, I think it's a nice moment for her to finally get that belt. Whatever you think about the fight, whatever you think about her as a fighter, her winning the belt is a nice moment, I think. But yeah, the fight wasn't great, was it?
You've put it into perspective for me because I hadn't really taken that into account, because during the fight, I was just so frustrated watching her. I was like,
yeah, definitely.
But I get it. And, when she's saying at the end that, like, I knew I was so close that I didn't want to risk it. It's like, I get it. But also that fight was a tough watch.
I mean, this was one of the worst. We're talking about the best title fights of all time. This is one of the worst. Like, I don't think it was as bad as Rose and Carla.
No.
Was it Tim Sylvia and Arlovsky that was really bad? I don't think it's as bad as those two, but it's down there in terms of, like, the quality as well, not just the action.
No, well, I also had not the co-main event in general, but I actually put Bueno Silva as my bad, because I just wasn't impressed compared to usual, man. I expected a lot more from it, and I just wasn't impressed. I think she scored like 3 takedowns or something, and what was it as well? So I've got this written down. She landed 96 strikes and 3 takedowns out of 9, and I just think she's better than that. And I don't know what happened. So yeah, sorry, Bueno Silva.
One of the reasons that I found when we did the champ predictions last week, I found bantamweight so difficult to pick, because I was like, we haven't seen. I know that she submitted Holly Holm, but we haven't really seen a whole lot of Mayra Bueno Silva at like a top level. And I eventually went with Raquel Pennington, and I'm so glad that I did, because there were points where I was watching Mayra Bueno Silva and I was like, this is crazy that she is in a title fight. Like, there were some things she was doing where I was like, what are you doing? But it was just, it was a tough watch. But yeah, I am happy for Raquel Pennington, even though it was a poor fight. But yeah, I did have on my bad category. I didn't even put the co-main event. I just put women's bantamweight without Amanda Nunes. I don't think this isn't the only tough watch we're going to get in women's bantamweight title fights, I think, this year, unfortunately. But we'll see.
Would you like a little stat check while we're here? Derek Lewis has more knockouts in the UFC than every ranked female bantamweight combined. Shout out Andy Hickey MMA, by the way.
I mean, that sounds about right.
It does, but also Charles Oliveira has more submissions in the UFC than every ranked female bantamweight combined. It's just mad, isn't it? Mad stats. Obviously, the sick fighters with sick records. So, like, what can you say? But yeah, heavy salad.
I mean, these things happen to divisions, right? Divisions. I mean, it's just this division was once good, right? We had Ronda, we had Nunez, we had Misha, we had Holly. Shevchenko was there. It used to be a good division. Now it's kind of in a cold spot.
But don't worry,
Steve. I think it's hard to say the game has moved past Ronda Rousey when we're seeing the title fights like this, though, which a lot of people try to claim.
The world will change when Jermaine Durandamy returns, baby. That's when Nunez comes back and it all kicks off. You watch. It all happens.
I mean, you look at that title fight. look at that title fight last weekend, and again, my reason for picking GDR as champ was purely just because I don't know if she'll get a title fight this year. But looking at that title fight and going, she is a really good pick to be the champion in the next maybe year. Like I said, maybe slightly just over a year. But I would not be surprised if Jermaine Durandame becomes bantamweight champion. Which, how old is Jermaine Durandame? She's
nearly
39,
40, I think.
something like that.
39, I think you're right, Steve. Yeah,
I would quite confidently pick her. I think over any other bantamweight. But
I think
there's a lot of flyweights who could, they could move up. They're going to be in a good position. If you're not immediately getting a shot at Grasso, I heard this on there, but if you're I heard this on a podcast before. If you're Blanchfield or Furo, and if Grasso is fighting Shevchenko, move up. You're gonna be in a really good spot for a title shot.
100%.
I think the loser of that fight, you should move up.
Yeah, when you come in from one division as well to another, if you move up and you're on a good streak, I always think it kind of goes to give them a higher ranked opponent, to match where they kind of are. Because obviously then if you beat them, you've got that fight next, haven't you? And you also get an extra fight out of it, which is always good for the UFC. But no, women's bantamweight needs a shake-up, man. It needs some new talent. They need to do a tough season on it and just sign prospects.
Ooh, I don't know about that, because I think if the talent was there, it would already be there.
True. I'm saying this as well.
I don't know how much a tough season would help.
I'm just gonna Google before I say what I'm gonna say, but I think I'm right. But you know me, I like to be okay. Yeah, Jasmine Jasudavicius, however you say her name. I couldn't say it last night. Couldn't say it on the weekend. I probably can't say it now.
You're stealing one of my good picks here.
Yeah, she's a really good.
To that.
Oh, sorry, just while we're on the topic, but yeah, she's really good, man. I like her. I thought she had a nice win as well. And she's been a good talent. What? It says bantam. Oh, she didn't fight at bantamweight.
Yeah, because
her
opponent didn't even try to make weight. Just went, nah, let's fight at bantamweight.
Well, in that case, Jasmine, baby, you need to move up and save the division. It's all on you. It's all on you, JJ. It's all on you.
Don't hate that. Don't hate that.
But either way, I'm just going to still say she's amazing. I think she's really good. And she's been at that good level and leveled up for a long time now. So I think we're going to see her in the top rankings soon.
Yeah,
yes, I do.
I mean, that takes.
Yeah, while we're talking about that, can we talk about that Sal D'Amato 10-7?
Oh yeah, the 10-7. I forgot to put that in.
Yeah, we got a 10-7.
When was the last time, or if ever, we had a 10-7 for a round?
I have no idea.
Crazy.
I cannot recall one.
No, that is crazy though. I put I didn't put Jasmine's win into one of the categories, even though I should have, but I did put into the ugly category just Priscilla Cachoeira's week in general.
Not great.
To say I'm not gonna make the weight, so let's fight a bantamweight and then get destroyed. If it was somebody that was liked by the fans, you'd maybe be like, I feel a little bit bad. She must have had some struggles making weight and then gets dominated. But it's a fighter that people already don't like because she has a really bad reputation in the UFC. And so to do that and then to just not even bother trying to make the flyweight limit is just you talk about
she's
a performance.
She's done now, right? We don't need to have that conversation. She's going to get cut now, yeah?
I can't imagine that she won't. That would be crazy.
I personally don't think we can blame her for anything, considering Mario Yamasaki nearly let her die at the hands of Valentina Shevchenko. So I think
and this beatdown was worse. This beatdown was statistically worse.
I think she's suffering, bro, and we just need to offer her all the support we can give her because fuck knows what's going on with her. Only the Lord knows, and he doesn't even want to know. How you could just not bother making weight is ridiculous to me. It's ridiculous.
I mean, some people would say she deserves it for walking out to Zombie when she's not A, Irish, or B, the Korean Zombie.
That's true. That's true. To be fair, I'm a hard stickler for walkout songs. Don't steal someone's song. It's not.
Well, there was someone who stole DC's as well, right? It was
Series City, right?
Yeah,
City,
it was. Yeah. Traumatizing that. I'm still gutted no one's come out to the Ultimate Warrior and run the whole length and just ran into the cage. Like, but
I
one
don't think
day.
people want to be associated with Ultimate Warrior. He's a bit of a
Oh,
shady character, to say the least.
Why do I say these things? I've been trying to make wrestling puns, and they're always bad. It's always like childhood heroes.
I mean, there was a
ruined
wrestling
legacies.
theme. If you want to talk about wrestling music, we can.
Oh, don't. I will have to.
We
bring
can talk
out my-
about the main man, Chris Curtis,
Chris Curtis. Yes, I did.
throwing out the Randy Orton pose, walking out to Metalingus.
I was going to say I do love a bit of Metalingus. It gets you proper. Just no smoke. Just need the smoke, baby.
And then, as like the true TKO employee, Daniel Cormier was like, "That's Edge's theme from WWE," and not, that's Adam Copeland's theme.
Oh, is he still called? Oh no, because he's Adam Copeland now in AEW, isn't he?
Yeah. But I mean, on the UFC aren't going to tell you that, given
No. No, that's just the man.
And he's wrestling Minoru Suzuki this week. That's crazy.
I can't wait for that. That'd be sick. Corley, I'll go back to you. Do you have a pick in the ugly category?
Oh, I do, and it's not my face for once. So I've actually picked the Toronto Commission rule set for ugly. Because what the is that about?
Yeah.
What is that about, man? And I understand if you've not updated your rules or if you're using a different version of the rules, whatever. To use a rule set from 2003 when we're in 2024 is absolutely ridiculous, man. Like, what the hell? Like, and I'm not being funny, that took Arnold Allen's victory away. And that is no shade on Mark Goddard because he did his job as the rule set states. So shout out Mark Goddard being the god as always. But no shout out to Toronto's Athletic Commission. Sort that out, man. That is terrible. That is terrible. Like we were saying in the group chat, weren't we? Women's flyweight's not a real division to them. It's not recognised. Corners can't shout advice during the fight, which they probably don't hear anyway with everyone else screaming and getting the face punched in. Like,
Eric Magrukan posted a great thread on that, which is where I kind of saw that stuff pop up. So definitely go and find that if you want to know a bit more about the Ontario Commission. If you're not completely fed up with it by now, which I am.
The scoring, like throughout the night, was pretty questionable. I've also got just the officials in general because of the moment where, and I understand that this is a mistake that can happen when Bruce Buffer says Sean Woodson and it sounds like Charles Jourdain, but the referee held up Charles Jourdain's hand.
I know it was Joan Villel. It was Joan Villel, right?
Yeah.
I know it was him, and he's kind of got this rep. Charles Jourdain lifted his arm too. I mean, it's easy to be thrown by one guy lifted his arm up.
I know, but it is his fault. Sean Woodson was like turning away when he bumped into DC. He was like, "You won. Where are you going?" And he was like, "What?"
See, I've got this specific moment on my list, but I created a fourth category. I just put funny, good, the bad, the ugly, and the good, the bad, the ugly, and the funny.
I'm putting
maybe
funny,
is what we should do.
Funny goes into ugly for me because it's just like, what is going on?
Fine, that's fair.
And that moment was baffling to watch. So that was incredible.
I mean, the Canada crowd finally thought they got a win, right? And then
poor Canadian man.
I mean, I've got this on my ugly, so we'll go to it now. All of the Canadian men losing.
It's not good It's not good when you're like. How long's it been since UFC's been to Canada as well? It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah,
or like for a pay-per-view at least.
Toronto, it's been a while. They had Vancouver not so long ago, right?
I think you're right actually.
Because the Vancouver one was the one with Mike Malott when the crowd like fell on top of him.
Oh God, yeah, it was when he was walking out.
That was Vancouver, but man. Toronto, it's been like pre-pandemic.
Nah, that's crazy, man. Well, that wasn't good for them, man. You can come back to me at the end because I can link this into something else. But I just wasn't happy with anything, man. I'm gutted for Brad Katona, but I don't know really where we stand with Brad Katona. He's Canadian, Irish. I'm a bit stuck.
He's Canadian.
Yeah, but the Irish claim him, so do we name him? I don't know. But I was gutted for him, man. I thought it was a close fight, and I honestly thought, watching it, I thought he did enough to win, but I will rewatch it. I don't think it's a robbery like everyone's claiming, but I'm really gutted for the Canadians. I'm really gutted. My heart is with
The other
you.
one that was close was obviously Side and Tavares. That was a close one. So they I don't know if they were counting Side. I assume they were, but in the 7. But I mean, yeah, that would have been the one to me. Like he probably should have won that fight.
I'm gonna piggyback 2 of my good points off of what you just said, because I had Tavares versus City as one of my good points, because I think that was realistically the best fight of the night. And not only that, but obviously they had history with each other from Contender Series where that fight ended early, and so to run it back in the UFC, nice little like prelim storyline going into that one, and the fight was incredible. So that was worth shouting out. And then also something you kind of touched on for a minute, but the Canadians, I thought they were going to get one with Mike Malott, and Neil Magny didn't read the script. I watched it again earlier just because I was like, was Neil Magny, was that fight more competitive than I thought? And I watched it again and I was like, no, it's really not that competitive until the last like minute and a half when Neil Magny gets that takedown and then just starts landing ground and pound. That was ridiculous. Like I don't know if we've ever taken a moment in the history of Verbal Money to just tip our hats to Neil Magny, but this feels like the time to do it.
I mean, I would say that's more talk about snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, right? If you want to turn that phrase on its head, that's Mike Malott right there.
Yeah.
Well, also speaking on Canadians, Mike Malott beat him in his last fight, not Mike Malott's, but the other guy's last fight. I can't say his name, so I'm going to give a bad pronunciation here. Johan Linesi. Bad, good, I don't have a clue. But for my goodness, I'm giving was that Sam Patterson got him, baby. That's my good. Sam Patterson got his first UFC win, and he looked really effing good doing it, man. And after his first one, I was a bit worried how he looked in his first fight. I thought that wasn't a good look for him to what he's actually capable of. So to see him come back and get the win in the first round, enemy territory, I don't think he was meant to win that fight by any means. That was a setup from the start, but he just showed straight up like he's the man. So big up Sam Patterson. And I think that opens a lot of good matchmaking possibilities for him now. I think after the loss, it kind of stunted him a bit, but now it's just opened that right back up. He's got so many good fights to have, and that he's going to be a fun one to watch going forward. He's a striker, a grappler, whoever you want, mate. He's great. Buzzing to see him get the win.
Yeah, super happy for Sam.
Yeah, I mean his UFC debut was about as bad as it could have been. Yeah. And I in a way that I don't think it reflects too much on him, right? Like he just got caught with a shot. So I'm glad we got to see him going in there. Perfect way to bounce back.
Perfect.
I don't think he should have been an underdog in this fight at all. That was ridiculous to me coming in. I made some money on him. So
shout out to Sam Patterson.
that was ridiculous to me that he was the underdog coming in. Yeah, I haven't seen both guys fight, and it kind of played out similar to how I imagined.
Yeah, as much as like I thought Sam looked great, and obviously upper weight class as well, which is so exciting.
He's big at 170, so I don't know how he made 155.
That is crazy.
It's crazy. It is crazy, isn't it, when you see the size of him at 155.
Yeah, like I've obviously like met the guy, right? We filmed an interview. He's a big dude.
Yeah.
I think Tom Aspinall once called him longer than a weekend in jail. Which I heard on whatever I was watching the other day. But I think that sums it up.
I think we, as much as we're always going to go to that to give Sam credit, and I also think that the line was a bit off on that one. I also think we could probably put Johan Lias's performance into bad, because I know Sam is a very good grappler, but he put up no defense whatsoever once that fight hit the floor. It really, I remember watching Lias on Contender Series when he knocked out Justin Burlinson and thinking this guy is legit, but he just got ran through on the ground by Sam. It was cutting through butter for him. So credits to Sam, but also I think Lias hasn't fared too well in the UFC either, has he? So
no,
I don't know how much longer he's going to be around.
Well, he's out. He's out of contract. He lost to. He lost to Gabe Green. He beat Darian Weeks. Then he lost to Mike Malott, and now to Sam Patterson. He's out of contract. So I mean, unfortunately for him, I don't see him sticking around really, to be honest.
You never know these days with the UFC, I think, though. With him, Joe, even being a Canadian and not having many actual Canadian athletes active, they might just keep him just to have, like, to go back with a name to sell tickets. You know what I mean? It's a bit.
Yeah.
The UFC's got a bit mad, I think, with what they're doing with the fighters at the moment. Yeah.
Corley, one more of your points?
One more. What have I got for you here? So, to be fair, I think I've given you my points. I had good for Sam Patterson. I had the ugly as the Toronto Commission and the bad as Bueno Silva. But what I would also like to touch on a little more is bad. I would like to go back to bad with something that I'm very, very infuriated about. How dare Dana White say that about Arnold Allen? How dare he? Like, and I understand people might have felt that way, and you can feel that way. Free country, free world, whatever you want to say. But fuck you, Dana White. That's your employees, man. And you're just slandering them. You're just slandering.
I think you'll find they're independent contractors.
I don't care what they are. If I was an independent contractor and the man who employed me said that, I would wig him. But that is why I am not very employable. Just like to clarify, I am in employment, just for anyone. But yeah, no, I wasn't very happy with Dana's comments either way, because I thought like it was not the most boring fight on the card, and like to actually highlight that fight from other fights was absolutely mad, like absolutely mad. He's just on a trip. He's had to pay more for Arnold to fly out. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I mean, I don't think he was, unless I missed something. He wasn't specifically talking about Arnold, was he?
Yeah, didn't he say Arnold and Movsar were like a bore fest?
He was talking about the fight.
He said it was. He said it was one of the worst fights you'll ever see. Which, like, it was one of the better fights on the card.
That's what. That's what I mean, though. Why throwing shade when it's not the worst? Do you know what I mean? Like,
he did
I just feel
specifically throw shade at Evloev because he said he'll have to deal with the fans' reaction to the fight.
True.
And I was like, the fans' reaction of being like, it was a close fight. Like, I don't know
that he won against like the number 4 guy in the division.
And
like, that wasn't a bad fight.
It was a pretty good fight, I thought. Which is like, you can't like. It is absolute insanity to say that when we had that co-main event on the same card. Like, that is actually insane. I mean, even
the 2 fights after that fight, before the co-main event, weren't great.
Like, definitely the Chris Curtis and Marc-Andre Barrio fight wasn't as good as Arnold Allen and Evloev.
No, and the thing as well, I think Dana says stuff sometimes to push a narrative, like as if the UFC have some grand plan that now they can enforce by saying that Movsar has to deal with the fans because now they're going to give him another fight instead of pushing him up where he should be. And like, do you know what I
definitely think they are starting to see warning signs that he is going to be in a title shot soon, and he doesn't have a finish on his record in the UFC. Was that like 7 in a row now or something like that? All decisions. Like, I think that, if there is a little bit of like, there's another motivation, it's to be like, we need to do something about this because this guy is going to be really hard to market if he gets, if he wins his next fight, which you'd imagine he will be a favorite again to do so.
And he's got form. Sorry, go on, Steve.
No, I was going to change the topic for a second.
Oh no, sorry. I was just going to say he's got form for it as well, Dana. Like, I'm not going back to the Brendan Lofton on Contender Series situation, but like, he was exciting to watch, and he just shot for a takedown to secure the win at the end. And Dana, like, I want finishes, I need finishes. Like, you can just tell what he's after. And fair enough, it sells, it goes viral, but actual fight fans appreciate a good fight, and that's what we got regardless. So, yeah.
I just want to point out something else that Dana said in that press conference while we were on the subject. He was obviously asked about Sean Strickland, right? He said, quote, "I don't try to control human beings in any shape or form." I'd say there's a lawsuit that kind of goes against that right now.
The thing is, well, that Strickland situation is like you said. I know you said there, Steve, like they're independent contractors, and that's how he gets away with not punishing them.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that in pro wrestling too.
Yeah, but I still feel like a line needs to be kind of drawn on some things. I think if you're going to give each other shit, give each other shit. But there's certain lines I think there should just be like race, sexuality, or whatever stuff like that, man. Personal stuff should just not be touched at all.
Well,
Like
it shows how much the UFC has changed, right? I mean, I think
yeah,
Nate Diaz once got suspended for like
for
saying
smoking
like
cannabis.
No, I don't even mean that. I mean like he said like he used like a gay slur.
I think you're correct. I think you're right. You know, I think you're right. I think you're right. Yeah,
It's slightly different, but Miguel Torres was fired. He was one of the top fighters coming in from WEC. He was fired for an inappropriate joke on Twitter.
Really? Oh, I didn't. Oh, no.
Yeah.
This is a panorama episode we will divulge into. I believe.
So I mean, it just shows how much the UFC has changed, and it funnily enough, it works parallel with Trump going into office. So
that's true.
A guy who's a very loud supporter of MMA, a good friend of Dana. Funnily enough, as soon as he got into office, and they started having a right-wing president at events, things started to change.
Yeah, it does mean that though. We have to put it into like right wing, left wing, whatever. Sorry, I'm getting political. I'm going to shut up in a minute. Like, we shouldn't care what you think. If you're a knobhead, you're a knobhead, and like that's the thing we should judge everyone on. Like, it doesn't matter what you think your government should be doing. If you think it's all right to use a slur at someone because you can, because you've got free speech, you're a prick. Just like vice versa. Do you know? Well, not vice versa. It doesn't work, does it? But yeah. Bun everyone, man. Bun everyone.
On that, I want to just throw out one of my ugly picks.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd.
Why? What's wrong with the crowd?
Did you not hear like the loud political chants during the fights?
Yeah, it was pretty relentless.
It was.
Yeah, that's.
To be very honest with you, I completely.
Is it a UFC card or a right-wing rally? It's like they're pretty interchangeable these days.
It's a horrible thing, man. Politics is becoming so intertwined with sport. It's not good, man. It's not good. It's like, look at, I don't want to throw the shade, but look at like the Middle East and stuff now. It's like sports washing and stuff in it of like crazy bits. But
luckily there is no politics involved in the long-awaited clash between Dricus du Plessis and Israel Adesanya. We will not have to have any kinds of political conversations, I'm sure, with that fight. So that'll be lovely. Back to regular scheduled programming.
Yeah, I tweeted something about this fight, which I'm not going to repeat.
Yeah, I have so many jokes I want to make against Dricus du Plessis that I will not make because I just fear the backlash.
I don't think we need to make them. Izzy in his video said, "Congratulations, my African brother." So it's just like, here we go. Here we go from here, I guess.
Oh, I love that.
It's funny that like now Dana White is trying to say, "Oh, we're going to look at South Africa this year. We're going to look at Africa this year with Dricus."
Not
when,
South
like,
Africa.
2 years ago, 3 of the biggest stars in the sport were all African.
No, they should have done Nigeria.
Anywhere.
That would have been crazy. I'm sorry. Do we remember the 2010 World Cup? Do we remember it in Africa? How amazing it was. That's what we could have with the UFC in Africa. That's what we could have again. I've never been happier in my life than 2010 World Cup. Like, oh, Africa. Hey, all that. I love it, man. Like, go to Africa.
I was like playing that song after Dricus won the fight. They should have done that.
I saw you tweet
instead of playing Drake to like mess with Drake. I suppose they should have just played Shakira. Go all in. Can you imagine DDP and Izzy? I think a lot of people assume it's going to be at UFC 300. Can you assume if they do that at Soccer City, 94,000 in Johannesburg? Insane.
That'd be quite big, to be fair.
I assume they're going to do it at UFC 300, but can just think about that for a moment.
Also, if they do that fight at 300 and DDP doesn't walk out to Waka Waka by Shakira, I will be so angry. That would be incredible. Oh.
Honestly, I think we need to start pulling some strings, lads. Don't know who manages Dricus du Plessis, but if you're listening to this,
I do.
Get on him. I don't know why I nod this way because my head goes the other way. It's that way I need to nod. But yeah, get on him, Kyle.
I know who manages him too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
talked to Dricus in the past. He kind of
we've spoken to Dricus in the past as well.
Yeah, I messaged him. Congratulations. He hasn't seen it yet.
Is this the one? Wait, is this the guy I emailed and didn't reply to me?
I don't know, but he replies to me.
I got like some replies for an interview like a couple years ago, but it never went anywhere.
Oh,
Oh, I know who we're on about. Now I know. I've gathered.
This is
now
probably
I
so
know.
boring.
I was talking about Drickus then, to be honest,
Oh
not the management.
no, I know
Yeah.
you're on about now. I was thinking, hang on, is this the person I emailed and thinking? I was like, no, and I was like, now I know. Now I know.
Anyway,
I have
Although,
yeah.
on another note, I can say, which is like, I guess, like a ground, like a big moment in media, I can now say I have a UFC champion's phone number. And it's not Drickus.
Oh. But who is it then, Steve?
Only one other person.
I mean, I feel like it's pretty, there was only other one champion. The last thing I've got on my list is actually the first thing I wrote down in the bad category. And it was, I really hate to say this because I feel like we've nagged on it so much during this podcast, but it needs to be said. Dominic Cruz on commentary.
Yes, I've got this too.
It's ridiculous. Like, one mistake in a night, I'm like, nobody is perfect. That's fair enough. But to constantly go to the well on something that isn't correct, to the point where John Anik has to be like, you know that's not how they score fights, right? It's scored round by round, not as a whole. And then for Cruz to reply with, yeah, but what if he has a cut? Is just like, I am so glad we do not pay for pay-per-views in the UK because I would have asked for a refund. Like, I can't be spending $80 to have my TV on mute because Dominic Cruz doesn't know the rules. And I love Dominic Cruz as a fighter. Always have. Fantastic legacy. But the guy doesn't read the rules and it's really not hard. Like, you have John Anik sat next to you. The man is like an encyclopedia at times, and he's literally telling you you're wrong. Oh God!
Now I like Dom. I've met Dom at a card once. I love him as a fighter, but something about his performance on Saturday when I went to sleep after the card. This is 100% true. No word of a lie. I dreamt that he did his knee again. Genuinely, I'm like 100% deadly serious.
Oh, that's heavy, man. That is heavy.
That's like that must have been what I thought of his performance.
Oh, Jimmy Carl off his back. I don't want it to happen.
Nah, so it wasn't a house that I haven't been to in about 10 years that I was watching the fight. So in my dream. So yeah.
When you get as many complaints as I don't know if America's got an Ofcom or something for television watching, but if that was in England, that would get so many complaints like Dominic Cruz would. It's just a joke, and the bad thing is, like,
I really don't think it would. I think Ofcom is there for like more important things than that.
No, what's the one where everyone
Dominic Cruz doesn't know the rules?
Yeah, and it sort him out there, but no, like someone needs to sort him out. I don't know after how many complaints from fans you can get, you can still be doing it. Do you know what I mean? It's crazy to me. I think we should bring Dan Hardy back personally, but
I think he's kind of busy.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Just
The baffling thing is, right? Dominic Cruz, this isn't his first event doing commentary, and this isn't a thing that he's made a big deal out of in the past. So has he just decided, oh, this is the rules now? Like, that's what I don't get. Is like this.
I mean, it was in Ontario. I mean, the commission's a bit all over the place. He might have just been.
That is very true. But they haven't adopted one championship's rule set.
I know.
Just baffling. Like, again, we've mentioned it. I think probably pretty much every time he's on commentary. But this felt like the worst example of it because it happened in multiple fights, and also I felt so uncomfortable when he would say it and DC and Anik would just go quiet for like 30 seconds before just not acknowledging it. Like, because they were just like, what? That's not true. Like, surely there is someone in the truck at the UFC who is in his ear, who is like, that isn't the rules. Stop telling people that's how the fight is scored. Like, Siri City isn't down on the scorecards because he has a cut. He is winning. I know that he didn't win the fight. I thought he won the fight, but he was winning the fight at that point. Like,
See, there you
I
go.
guess
Lost, he had a
maybe
cup.
Cruz was right. Maybe I don't understand the commission, and maybe he knows something I don't. But if he does, he seems to know something that the rest of the MMA world doesn't, because everyone was like, "What is he saying?" Like, I love Dominic Cruz, and I hate slagging him off, but like, you're people who don't know the sport, who are watching their first event, are going to have the wrong opinion of how fights are scored because you're telling them that's how it's scored. Like,
Yeah, how bad does that look really if it's your first time watching an event and you've got one commentator chatting shit and the other commentator correcting them and them not acknowledging it? You'd be like, well, what's the rule then?
can you imagine if that happened in
mad.
football? Like,
Yeah.
and not only just in football. This is a UFC pay-per-view. That's like the Champions League of football.
Yeah.
And someone said a rule and someone had to go, no, that's not how it works.
Joey Barton would not sit on his hands if that happened in football, mate. I'm telling you now, he would be on a rampage. It's not good. It's not good. But to be fair, I don't get how you could get on the comms in the first place without having a full, firm, theoretical, physical, and whatever else you want of an understanding of the rules.
He's not been this wrong before. That's the point.
No,
he's never said this before.
It's barbaric, man. It's barbaric. But everyone can have a bad night. He might have had a few shandies beforehand. Who knows? Who knows?
I don't know if that's a good excuse.
No, it's not. It's not. You might have had a spiked J2O from the crowd. Like I have no idea. I'm making excuses now for him, but Cody Garbrandt to do a better job.
I don't know about that. I'm a big Cody Garbrandt fan, but I don't know.
Yeah, me too. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I got that far. Steve, was there anything on your list that we didn't get to?
I was just gonna say my favorite, like, all-time Cruz commentary moment was when he used to just throw shots at Keith Peterson.
Yeah. Oh, mate. What did he say? He smelt of cigs and alcohol or something. Did he?
Well, yeah, that was after the fight, but like after that on commentary, he has like subtly said some things when Keith Peterson's been in.
Is so funny, man.
Kyle, no, I think this is everything. I think we've hit everything.
Perfect. Right. I believe the only event that we were going to talk about is the One Championship event this week. Is there another big MMA event on? I assume not, because of the Royal Rumble. Everyone is taking the Saturday off.
UFC. There's also I think there's NFL this weekend, obviously, so that's another reason why people.
There's the Octagon event that I completely forgot about, that we have interviewed multiple people from. I completely forgot it's happening this Saturday.
Terrible. It's also ACA 169 on Friday. Biblatov versus Dayak. You'll all love that if you know some. Hexagon MMA is also there with a fight I didn't even know was happening, so I'm going to look at that in a minute. And also, Karate Combat on Friday, baby.
Karate Combat.
Oh, is
Karate
it as
Combat
well?
on Friday, yeah. Karate Combat's going to be a sick one. I think that's the one at Asim's house. President Awesome, sorry, I should never sully the man. President Awesome. Rick Ross on the...
I thought it was his mum's house.
It is his mum's house, isn't it? Yeah, but still his gaff in it. It's like, yeah.
I forgot that was this Friday. I'm stoked for that event.
I'm really excited for that.
That's cool.
I feel like since Karate Combat had a nice little buzz to it anyway, but I think since he's took over, it's had some like real. Yeah. It seems really exciting. Every day I'm going on seeing something, I'm like, yeah, Karate Combat. So I'm all about that. But one on Friday. Jeez, Louise.
Sunday.
Sorry, excuse me. I am so excited.
We should touch on. We'll do it. We'll do Octagon first, if that's cool, and then we'll do one at the end, if that makes sense.
I suppose.
Just to do them in order of when they happen, you know.
No, let's get it done.
When we spoke to the athletes, some of the guys that are going to be on that card, one of the things that I said at the start of, I think, every interview was like, fair play to them for coming back so soon. You know, like I didn't expect it, but they're keeping up the quantity of these cards, and you know, we've interviewed a bunch of the guys on this card, and also I think that Jack Cartwright versus Jonas Magard is probably the best fight they've put together for the UK fans.
100%. Sorry for being a bit passionate about that. But in my short stint as their social media manager, I did put that fight forward as a beautiful. I think it was in my interview actually. I said you need to do Jack Cartwright versus Jonas Bogard in Manchester. It will blow the roof off. But alas, we get it in Newcastle. I think that fight would have been so big in Manchester. I think that would have been unreal. But I'm still happy it's happening. We also got Aaron Abbey coming back, which I think will be an absolutely lovely fight. His opponent's quite good, to be honest, but I think Double A will have no problems solidifying himself as numero
Yeah, he's
uno.
fighting the Fallen Angel, isn't he?
He is, man.
The
So when you said
Fallen
that, I
Angel,
thought,
Christopher Daniel.
yeah, because I was thinking the bald guy with AJ with Thingy. What's he called? Is it AJ Styles?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Yes.
thinking madness that, but yeah, that wasn't who I saw when I saw the poster.
That's not who it is. I was like, why is Curry Man on this card?
Oh, it was sick. But I was watching some of Daniel's fights, and he's actually really good. And he'll definitely cause Abby some issues. But if Abby looks like he did against Elias Garcia, I don't think he will have any massive problems. But that is your expert analytical opinion of me. Yeah. It was awesome.
And then there's obviously the guys that we spoke to. Corey Fry is on this card against another undefeated guy. Excited to see him back out there after that win over Dennis Ilbay last time out. And then you got some of the Octagon Challenge guys that are kind of like the backbone for these UK shows. It feels like. So yeah, it's a pretty good card. It doesn't feel like it has the same kind of momentum around it this time around compared to the Manchester event. I think that's also just because of how quick it's come around after the Manchester event, which is both to their credit and it's like, oh, there's another one. It's here already.
Yeah.
And
there's no celebrities on this card.
Well, that is very true. In my opinion, Jack Cartwright is a celebrity, but the world does not share that view.
No, it is a good card. It is a good card. And I like them signing some young talent coming up now. I like that. I would like to see them scattered out a bit more across the European cards. But we shall see. We shall see. I'm really looking forward to Jake McHugh as well against Armand Hertzeg. I think that'll be a really good fight. And of course, Dave Dencho, Get Frimponged is back. Mr. Dennis, the man is back. And it's always fun, isn't it? It's always a fun fight. And I'm really gutted George Staines isn't on the card. I thought we'd see Georgie back, but hopefully on the next one. So, yeah.
Absolutely. To talk about this one championship card, I don't know where you guys want to go with this. I have been, absolutely living with this card for a couple of weeks. So, I can't even wrap my brain around it. I've spent so much time talking about it that I don't even know where to go. But
that's an incredible.
It's
card.
a really, really good card. And
wait, hang on a second before I carry on. Excuse me.
Obviously an early start here in the UK as well. On pay-per-view, which is maybe the downside to it, but you'd hope with the Sky Sports deal they could have done something, but not to be this time. They've only just got the Fight Night cards. So that's a little unfortunate, but I mean, it's a really great card. I think.
Sorry, go on, Steve. Go.
Looking apart from the obvious ones, I guess the ones that stand out to me would be Gary Tone and Martin Ingrin and Danny Kingard, Yu Wakamatsu. Probably the two that stand out. Other than that, obviously Itsuki Hirata's on the card too. A lot of familiar one names.
I have not been impressed with one start to the year. I will not lie to any of yous, but I am loving this card. I am loving it. And I mean, just look at that top fight, guys. Superlek and fucking Takaru. I know it should be Rodtang, but we'll keep our Rodtang opinions to ourselves. But I think this is a banging fight. And on short notice, I still think Superlek can do him. So that's going to be fun to watch. Also, Cade, is it Cade or Ty in the co-main as well? Sorry, it's Cade, isn't it?
It's Cade, yeah.
Him, that's going to be a great fight. Shinya versus Sage as well. I think that's a great fight. It's like old guard versus new guard. Well, actually, do we class Sage as a new guard now? He seems like he's been around forever, but he's still probably like 25,
I feel like,
isn't he?
Because he took the 4 years off. I feel like he still kind of is new in the sense that we haven't seen a ton of him.
Yeah.
I mean, and one, yeah, especially.
Yeah.
The fact that you guys have managed to go this long without mentioning the absolute insanity matchmaking that is Sexy Armor versus Nikki Holskin
My
in a
God.
round of Muay Thai boxing and MMA. that is, I can't wait for that fight. I have no idea what's going to happen.
I
But
mean, wouldn't it be more fair to Akiyama to have the MMA round in the middle?
yeah,
Yeah,
it
It-
makes
that's the
sense.
thing that's weird to me.
They don't care about that. They don't care about that. It's such a good fight, though. That it's so fun.
I'm just here for the walkout. Give me the Akiyama walkout.
Sexy Yama's the man, innit?
Yeah,
So he was good on that physical 100, 1000, whatever it bloody was called as well.
yeah.
But also just as a last one, sorry guys, Marek Grigorian and Sitachai. That's a good fight.
Yeah,
That's going to be a really good fight. Love Grigorian. Yeah. Overall, it's a really sick card. But we've also forgot on Friday we have Mr. Freddie Haggerty.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's not forget about the younger brother of Jonathan. Is he 19? Is he Kyle? Sorry, 19
18.
years old. 18 is even better. 18
Wild.
years old.
It's wild.
Strawweight. He's going to absolute. High hope. He's going to match Jonathan's level, I think, and like the hype we have for Jonathan. I really do. And you should defo check that interview out with the one and only Kyle Diamond on the VMTV YouTube channel if you haven't already, because it is a banger. It is a banger, and yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do. I really am, and I think he'll do us all. He'll give us all a good scrap. I really do.
Yeah, it could be really exciting if he gets off to a good start. Like I spoke to him about in the interview, the idea of him and Jonathan both being, on a card together, potentially again, fingers crossed in the UK at some point, but even just, as part of the Sky Sports deal, I feel like, the narrative of them both being top level Muay Thai competitors will be really, really big for Sky to be able to sell that off the strength of them, because John's already the poster boy for it, but having Freddie right there with him would be absolutely incredible. So yeah, I'm excited for that one.
It feels like they're making a bit of a mistake having this on a Friday fight instead of a fight night card. Obviously, you can build it on the name. He's obviously Jonathan Haggerty is a big star for the company. You can kind of sell it on that. And if it's on a fight night card, obviously you'd get the Sky Sports audience to see it. Kind of feels a bit hidden on the Friday fights, but I guess that's where they like to build people up. So it makes sense in that regard.
Yeah,
but I would like to see this fight on Sky.
Yeah, it's great marketing though. Put him in your feed the show, build him up, put him on each one, let him do it. It's good to show like the progression, because I think that's what one needs as well. They need to show like they've got athletes coming from the bottom to the top and getting there. Because at the moment, especially, well, not at the moment, there is some new guys coming up, but I feel like the top of the divisions are quite stagnant in who's at the top. It's like the same kind of guys it was last year and the year before. So. But hopefully, with the more shows, we'll see a gradual progression from all. I don't know why I'm waving my hands like this. Fucking how many times am I going to do it? We will gradually see an increase of guys coming through the Friday fights, onto fight nights, onto the pay-per-views. And that's when it gets exciting, man. That's when it gets exciting.
Yeah, just one thing on the Sky Sports One deal. They have started showing One Championship weekly now, which is good. There's like the magazine show showing highlights.
Yes.
They have started showing that now, so that's going to be good for the one brand. Having that, I think it was on Sky Sports Arena this week. So obviously that's a great platform. The other cards, I don't know if it's going to be the case with all of the Fight Night cards, but the first one was on Sky Sports Mix, which it kind of gets a bit hidden there, I feel.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. But yeah, obviously this one will be on pay-per-view. So for all the people staying up to the Royal Rumble,
good luck.
I tip my hat to you waking up at 8 a.m. to watch this card.
I want to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Yeah, I might have to tune in halfway through and go back for the older fights, maybe after the event finishes, I think. But we shall see.
I did just have a look at this Karate Combat card. Midnight, Friday night, Saturday morning. The standout name to MMA fans is Sajakub Kakwamanov, who's done pretty well in Karate Combat. So that's always going to be a fun one.
Yeah. Don't miss that event.
I can confirm it is the one President Awesome's mum's house. So
Let's go.
I'm
I can't
very
wait for
excited.
that.
The biggest boss, Rick Ross,
Let's go. A
Throwing-
great
throwing
weekend
around-
of stuff ahead.
throwing around his accusations, false accusations.
Let's hope there's no gardeners getting thrown into boots this time around.
Said that to Kyle. I just said that to Poppy Kyle. That's all.
Right.
Like,
That
Corey
is
is
it.
not going to understand that niche AEW reference.
No.
Sorry.
The first episode of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly is done. First UFC pay-per-view of the year, done and dusted. And yeah, we will look forward to the rest of the stuff coming at us for the rest of the month, and then UFC 298 next month. All right. Catch you later.